All right, we're live and ready for some Q&A. So what do we got? Do we going right into it? I can't wait.
We
Can't wait to see your questions here.
we can definitely do that here. Hey guys, it's Eddie. I'm here with Simone, and we're going to be bringing you a live Q&A. Pretty exciting, huh?
Yes, it is, and scary all at the same time.
You,
It's okay. I don't have anything to hide for the most part.
nothing to hide.
For the
Well,
most
for
part.
the most part.
Yeah.
um, well, guys, whatever questions you have, go ahead and throw them either in the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat, and we will start answering. We'll have Simone start answering them for you there. I'm just going to be over here reading them. I actually have a question for you, Simone, that I want to be
Okay.
able to start with. You were previously a tennis coach before pickleball. Can you talk about the places that you did coach tennis from?
Yes, I played I played at Auburn first, and then I played at at Fresno State. So when I was there, I finished school. I finished playing my eligibility, and then I had to finish school. And while I was doing that, I kind of became almost like a student assistant. So I would help with practices and just I was 23 at the time, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit to be able to continue on playing uh, and coaching. So after I graduated, then my head coach, left to go to the College of William and Mary, and then his assistant became the head coach, and the opportunity to be his assistant coach came, and I jumped all over it, and so I did that for 3 years at Fresno State. Then I went to William and Mary, where my head coach had gone, and so I ended up working for him for a year. And then I got the job offer from Michigan State, where I was the head coach for 8 years. And of course, now I am here. Been here for 3 years now. 3 years. So yeah. So been a interesting journey all over the country, but I enjoy it, and I enjoyed it. Enjoyed college tennis, but now this part, especially at this phase in my life, it's been pretty amazing. Not gonna lie. So yeah. So yeah.
All right, we've got some more questions coming in here, which is nice. Here's one from Helene, and she says, "Hello, Simone. Hope to see you soon. I still struggle with my third shot drop. It is too high. What drill can I do to improve it?"
So with the third shot drop, a lot of the times is really oh, it's I do know her. There you
Yeah.
go. She's from here, from town. So a lot of the times is that making sure that you have the right technique. Just making it in. To me, I feel like you can have really bad days, and then really good days when you're not sure how to hit the ball. Um, Again, there's so many third shot drop. There's a reason why it is the most difficult shot in the game. It has the contact point. Uh, your footwork is very important. Again, the technique, how you follow through with your paddle is so important, and also not having a big take back. I feel that a lot of the times that is the biggest struggle. That's why people hit it too, not necessarily so high, but too far out, like too deep into the court, so it doesn't bounce into the kitchen. A really good way to make that adjustment is making sure that you don't take the paddle so far back. Making the adjustment with a shorter take back, having the paddle out in front, and making contact with that ball further out versus like behind you. Think of for my like I like sports analogies. Think of like a fast pitch and a slow pitch. When you do a fast pitch, the like when you throw the ball, your release point is by your hip, and the ball goes down, but then it rises. So think of that relationship. When you're doing a soft toss, the release point is further out in front, so you can get that ball to go and bounce into the plate. right? That's what you want. And it's kind of somewhat the same analogy that you want to make contact with the ball where they release the ball. I think Wes Gaberson actually has a really cool video for people who are struggling with that third shot drop. Actually, sometimes just tossing the ball with your hand to get that control, get the technique down, again, focus on that contact point, which is your release point. So that way you can, because again, the drilling is not going to improve unless you have good technique, because you can do something 1,000 times, but if you're doing it wrong, it won't matter. It really won't make a difference. But if you do it 20 times, but with the proper technique, it's gold. Like it's much, much better. So I hope that answers your question.
All right. We have another question here. This one is from Therese Saunier. I'm hope I'm not butchering that name there. She asks, what workouts do you do to prepare for tournaments?
Oh, this is a good one. Actually, the video the video that we posted, the first video, I if I can, I do that as much as I can, as much as my body can take. But it's really I'm not a big workout person as far as outside of the pickleball court. The same that I was with tennis as well. I don't really enjoy that process of being out on a elliptical or on a bicycle or running or working out, like lifting weights. Like, I'm not a big fan. I don't enjoy it. So to me, I feel like I don't get too much out of it. Where if I can still get a good workout on the court doing those things, like working on my endurance, like the drills that I'm running side to side, maybe I'll never use that on a pickleball match. Probably I won't. However, I know that ultimately I'm working on my stamina. So that's what it brings. I enjoy that. I actually enjoy that workout where I'm running side to side, versus going and running. But because again, especially for tournaments, when you're playing all day long, you do have to work on your stamina, as hard as it is. Like, some of us don't like it. So you have to find ways that you enjoy that process of working out. So that's the best that I found, that doing that on the pickleball court, whichever way it is, if it's, dinking side to side, working on my agility, but again, with a paddle and a ball, versus just nothing in my hands and I'm just running. That I find no enjoyment whatsoever, and tends to actually I don't get as much out of it as I do if I'm doing something where I'm enjoying that process. I do a ton of so for singles, I do a lot of the drills that we did, and then for doubles, I'll definitely do a video of how I like to work for doubles. But a lot of the boring stuff, as people say it, that they don't enjoy it, but I love dinking cross court and just getting tons of good reps. Working on both sides, getting that repetition. And then I also like to play skinny singles. I think it's a great workout, because and it works, good for your double skills as well. But you get a ton of reps. And then again, playing points is always good. I just don't do a ton of it, sometimes for time management, but also because I feel like I can get more by doing one-on-one practices.
Good. All right, we're going to switch it up a little bit here. Here's a question from John Davidson.
Uh-oh.
And he asks, who's better at pickleball, Ben or Kyle? Not to put you on the spot or anything here.
Wow. I like John. Are you trying to get me in trouble with whichever one of them? I see what you're doing here, mister. No. I mean, honestly, they are both very different. To me, there is Kyle is a very talented kid. He's got amazing just hands and the stuff that he can do with the ball, as far as innovation and a lot of, trick shots that a lot of people don't see it coming. He's quick and, I mean, you know him. I know you do. He likes to win, and that's, something that, he's really into it. I mean, I've played with him for the past 2 years, and we've done really well. I think that he, of course, Ben, he's been playing with Ben. Ben is the kind of kid who's got a ton of power. I mean, the way he's built, he's about this wide. And so they're very different in the sense of power. Uh, Ben takes one step, and a lot of the times he can put just as much power as anybody. He's got, great hands as well. So again, I'm gonna say that right now I believe that Ben is definitely playing unbelievable pickleball. But Kyle has been consistent for the past, I don't know how many years, probably 6 years. So yeah, so they are, um, I don't know. I would say also in the fact that Ben just won the Triple Crown, so he's had a really good summer as well. So he's got some really good tournaments. But again, him and Ben have been playing together in the men's doubles. So yeah. So pretty much I did not answer your question, but I did.
I thought it was good.
He's gonna come back with another.
Yeah, I know. He never ends at one. So
yeah. Keep them coming, John.
All right, we have a good one here from Faith Mitchell Garcia. And Faith asks, what's the number one thing older players can improve on?
I think that, again, hi, Faith. A lot of the times is knowing your body and knowing what you can and cannot do. I know that we all wish we were 20 all over again. Some of my clients, including Faith, they wish they were 50, or they wish they were 40. So sometimes is knowing what's your body like able to do, and then working to improve. So mobility is a big issue. I know that for anybody. And one thing that we work on with a lot of our clients who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s is how to be more efficient with movement. And I know Manny comes from tennis, and he, in Faith, when we first started working with them, it was really minimizing how many steps you take, because as we all know that the more steps you take, the more it takes out of your body, more energy, and it's hard. I mean, you end up being exhausted and or possibly hurting yourself. So we try to improve on the first thing that we talked about is footwork. The technique is for sure important, but the footwork is just as important. How do you move along that kitchen? How do you get up to the kitchen efficiently from the baseline to the kitchen? It's not a full sprint. I mean, poor knees. First of all, use that stop and go. If you have any problems, that's probably not a good way to go, because again, you're gonna do a full sprint and come to a full stop at the kitchen line. Some of us sometimes don't, because of that. So also like finding your base. Some that do have mobility issues or have knee problems or hip problems, and they always come to me, oh, you get so low. And I was like, well, you got to understand that I also have younger knees and younger hips, and it still like hurts me, bothers me sometimes. But for them is understanding that maybe they won't be able to get as low, because it's important in pickleball, the ball doesn't bounce nearly as much, so you have to get underneath it, because the last thing that I want is my clients to having back pain from bending at the back. So a lot of the times we'll adjust their base, meaning that we get their feet further apart versus having the feet really close together, and then bending at the back or bending the knees. Think of a squat, a really poorly executed squat, where you have your knees together and you are only bending at the knees, and then of course you end up bending your back. So those are a few things that I feel like it's extremely important when you start to age and your body parts are not as fresh and as good as they used to be. I think that's really minimizing movement, making sure that your footwork is on point. So, and I'll see you soon, Faith.
Great. We have another one here from Jim Anger.
Oh,
Jim
another
says,
client.
yeah. He says, don't be nervous. You're doing great.
Ah,
When you use your double-handed backhand, are you getting more power or accuracy or both?
both for sure. And then also it's because I don't teach two-handed backhand unless they came from tennis and they have had a two-handed backhand. Um, because again, it's what's comfortable and what works for me. It has worked for me, for a longest time. So I do it because I feel that I get more power because from tennis, when you hit it a two-handed backhand, the left arm is actually doing a lot of the work. Unlike if you do a one-hander, everything is on your right arm. So you actually get extra help when you're doing a two-handed backhand. Um, the other thing about accuracy is that there is some tendencies with a two-handed backhand. So I had to adjust that with pickleball because the tendency is to pull because the left hand does a lot of the work. The tendency is the ball to pull to the right. So trying to take that ball cross court, it's been something that I've been working on to get better. So that ball, I don't always pull that way. So you talk about accuracy, you have to then put in extra work. Again, in tennis, I wouldn't really hit an inside out backhand because it's much tougher. But definitely, it's something that I've always done since I was 6 years old. When I grabbed a tennis racket in my hand, it was a two-handed backhand. If I try to hit a one-hander, it does not look good. And for volleys is much harder because of the strength in the wrist. If you can see my wrist here, let's see, this is how big this thing is. I don't have a whole lot of wrist strength. So when I'm blocking or I'm punching, it's much harder to keep it steady. So the left hand helps tons to keep that nice and firm. So.
Yeah, you definitely see that double-handed backhand a lot, which is
Well, and especially
beneficial.
because a lot of the women who are coming over to play pickleball, they play tennis or they played a sport where they use a two-handed, so that is something natural that they've always done. They're not used to hitting one-handers. Some of the guys who have one-handed backhands, they had a one-hander in tennis. And for a lot of people, is I guess more natural to have a one-hander if they did not play racket sport. So, and I think like even like racquetball and badminton, everything is one hand. It's not two. So that's where the tennis players, you can tell the difference between a tennis player and a non-tennis player.
We have a kind of a two-parter here. It's almost like a statement, but I think it'll go into a good question. First one is from our friend Mac Moody. She says, "Hi Simone, been working on my serve yips drills today that you gave me."
Oh, Mac.
And then the follow-up here from, I think it's Jan Lucas, saying, "I would like to know how to deal with serving yips too. Do you have any recommendations for that?"
Oh my goodness, Mac can tell you. Can you give Jan the list? So, Mac, of course, she's a client and she been messaging me and complaining a little bit about the serving yips, and I'll tell you, it is something that happens to everybody, and it's very hard because. And I completely understand because it's something that you feel you have control over because you're starting the point, the ball, you're tossing the ball. And so I've had that happen to tennis players as well, where they have problems with their serve. So some of the drills that I recommend, they are, again, I'm taking it straight from tennis. So one of them is to start closer to the like almost like a step away from the kitchen, and then you're gonna like take a few serves and then step away from the kitchen, slowly gradually work your way back to the baseline Uh, and again, there's a few things like I have questions for I had questions for Mac. So she figured out because I haven't seen her. So she figured out pretty much on her own that her issue was actually her toss. She was hitting the ball too close to her. Sometimes people toss the ball too high or too far away, and then they are chasing the ball. So the reason why this drill is good sometimes is because it makes you aware of what is going on with your body. I mean, as trivial as it sounds, taking deep breaths before you serve, because I know that people get the yips a lot of times in tournaments, but they are completely fine when they play rec play. So that is telling that it's kind of mental that you are nervous and now you are, can barely, that paddle in your hand is shaking like no one's business. So making sure that you are aware of your breathing. Um, so so the so the drill consists of you taking your time. You're not just going for numbers. You're going for a feel and figuring it out. Okay, is my toss, my movement, my technique? Am I just not trying? Sometimes people when they add power and spin, that's when also they get a little bit out of whack because they are trying to do too much, and then the movement, the technique gets a little out of hand. So find that like that technique is sound. It's nice and compact. There's no big swings. And then you work all the way to the baseline. Now, again, this is something that it may take some time. Sometimes because it is mental, it may only be a couple of days and then you're over it. So the other thing that I talked to Mac about is visualizing. So this is something just from coaching tennis and myself, I do it, is visualizing, closing your eyes. It's like almost like meditating, and you don't have to do it for a long time. You can do it like 10, 15 minutes and just close your eyes and just picture yourself serving and what it looks like, what it feels like. You should be breathing heavily, and I told her, I was like, you're going to dream about pickleball and serving the whole night, because I said, do it before you go to bed. And it happens to me a lot of the times before a big tournament. I will picture myself how I look like what I'm playing. What is it like my executing my shots, and it's almost like a nine out of 10 times I'll dream about pickleball that night, and how the match is played out on my head before it happens. That's why a lot of times you say, oh, this is a deja vu, this point happened in my head. Well, sometimes it does because you're visualizing it. um, the other one is and that's the next one that I was going to give it to Mac as well, is again putting targets, setting targets for your serve. So you, again, that comes the visual, like you now visualizing where you're going to serve, and you have a goal. A lot of times when people, I used to tell my tennis players when they go out with a basket just to serve, it's like you're just putting in numbers. You're not having any purpose. There's no purpose to your practice. So set up targets. Put one, to the forehand, one in the middle, one to the backhand, and go out and try to hit those cones or whatever you have out there. Um, that are it's imagery. It's so many things that come into play. I love those bright cones that you can really see, and plus it's a sense of accomplishment. If you hit the target, it's like cool. I hit the target. So you feel like you accomplished your goal. So anyways, so I hope this helps. There are a few other things that you can do. One really like some I like sometimes to say, right now just go for it, just hit it as hard as you can and let loose, like especially in a tournament, like because you're so tense, your arm is, you can see the veins popping out in your arm. I was like, just let one go, like hit it as hard as you can. If you miss it, you miss it, who cares? And then it actually now, you know you kind of start to smile a little bit, which naturally smiling helps you relax. By telling, one of the things that if anybody that has a partner that is struggling with a serve, please don't tell your partner to just put it in. That's one of the worst things that you can tell a partner that is struggling with their serve, because now they are like, am I that stupid that I can't hit? My partner is telling me just to put it in and I can't. Or like, just relax, just relax. Well, duh, like I get it. Yeah, just relax if it was that easy. So even like sometimes you have a partner who you see that they're tense, make a joke, make a silly joke. Say like, hey, you got, something in your eye. I don't know. It's like something stupid that they're going to laugh about it and like a natural smile. So that way that's how they're going to relax. Not by you telling, hey, you need to relax. Well, guess what? They're probably going to be more tense now. So yeah, so that's a few hints.
Good stuff. We have a very serious question here.
Uh-oh.
This one's coming from Webby, aka Webster Papadopoulos Schindler here. And he wants to know who you think will win the next Eddie versus Webby match.
Well, just so you know, when is it supposed to be?
In a couple of weeks here.
Oh, shoot.
I know.
Because Eddie is supposed to do a camp with us in October. So I say we postpone it to after that camp. Then I can tell you exactly who is winning, which is Eddie. But right now, I'm not sure. Eddie does need a little bit of work. We played a couple weeks ago, but maybe we'll get together next weekend, and then I'll get him ready. So then, Webby, to answer your question, will be Eddie. I'll get him ready for it.
That's what I like to hear.
Of course.
Yeah.
Come on.
We have a question from somebody by the name of Ben Johns. Never heard of him before. And he asked,
are we dyeing our hair red?
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, he wants to know what's your favorite shot in pickleball, and he signed it, your number one fan.
Oh, you're so funny. By the way, I have a question for him. Can he answer the question? Oh, are we dyeing our hair red? That's a very important question because the storm is coming and the stores are going to be crazy. So if we are, I have to go buy the dye like tonight. But to answer your question, my favorite by far is around the post. I think it's like, I don't know. It's just, as now is becoming something that is like, it's nothing. In the pros, it's just like everybody does it with their eyes closed and it gets defended like all the time. So that's my favorite just because I feel like in tennis it's almost impossible to do it. But, I know why he's asking this question because a lot of the times like Ben and Kyle, I get a lot of ideas of things that for me to work on because of things that they do. So they have it's a nurney, but it's not a nurney. It's like the ball is coming and they are flying across the kitchen, hitting a backhand. So I've been working on that. I'm still like very far away from getting it. I think I leave too soon. I'm not really getting touches on it yet. So, but I'll get it. Eventually I'll get it. And then it will become my favorite shot. But first I need to figure it out how to do it. So maybe they can come and give me a few lessons because I definitely need it. I can use the help because my timing is so off. I feel like it's like my brain is telling me like, wait. And then it's like this kid who sees like a chocolate, a candy bar and it's like, I gotta get it. And then I get to it and it's like, the ball's not going to come to me because I'm already there. But it's supposed to happen like when the ball's traveling in the air. So anyways,
I like it.
But that's the thing about pickleball is that, people will ask me like, oh, so like the pros got it all. Like they already have everything and like the shots and everything. It's like the game is always changing. And it will continue to the speed is going to continue to get faster. Shots that you think like, oh my gosh, that's impossible. Because actually, I had a really interesting conversation with Joey Farias, and we were talking about a player who had, hadn't been playing, and like around the post were very, they didn't happen very often. Like 4 years ago or 5 years ago. So people were not used to it. So it was a clean winner. As of this year or last year even, like sometimes it's like not even a good shot to hit sometimes because now you open up the whole court, your opponent is already sitting there, and then they hit a winner off of you're around the post. So and again, it's becoming almost like trivial shot. So I don't know what's coming next. That's the thing. Like, so if you don't do an around the post on that angle shot, like what do you do? Or you have to hit the ball like this much off the ground so it doesn't get returned. So if you're gonna hit an around the post, now it needs to be better, harder, and a better shot. So to me, it's like, it's amazing. It's awesome because there will always be stuff to work on. So, who knows, like next year I'll be, I don't know, doing some crazy stuff. Who knows? These kids, they keep me young. I
These
like
kids.
it. Yes, they are. Like Ben is 20 years old. This year, we figured out this year is the only year that he's half my age.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Crazy. And here, they are all pounding balls. I still have a bruise from Tyson hit me on the leg. It's like as I get older, this thing doesn't go away. It's like, oh my gosh, it's purple. He was very nice. He apologized and everything. And I was like, well, thanks. This is going to be for days. But that's the thing, back in the day, I would get pegged with a ball. It's like, yeah, it's gone already.
Right.
Now it's like, it's going to go all the colors of the rainbow. Oh, man. But anyways, it's fun. So I just got to make sure that I get my pad on it, not my leg.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been hit so many times. Ben I think he hit me one time on the stomach. I had that bruise like for a week. That was a couple years ago.
He's a mean kid, isn't he?
Oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's like taking, what is it? The elderly. That's what it is.
Oh, you're cracking me up over here.
Yeah. So, anyways,
All
did
right.
he answer? Are we going red?
We got another question here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did he? He hasn't answered that yet, but I'll keep an eye out for it.
All right.
So Ben, if you're out there, Simone wants to know if you guys are dyeing your hair red. In the meantime, though, we have a question from Daniel Youngblood Davis, and this is a very interesting question. What do you tell your men's partner or women's partner when they are being targeted and can't handle it?
I mean, I try to be as supportive as I can. I feel like I try to help as much as I can, like physically. And a lot of the times I just have to be you have to stay positive and trust that they can do it and believe that they can do it. And it is difficult for them, just as it is as difficult for you, because of the fact that it's ball after ball after ball, and depending on the speed or the kind of ball that is coming, it's hard for them to handle it, but it's hard for you to watch. So I feel like the best way that you can do the best partner that you can be is by being positive and reassuring and saying, hey, if you didn't get if they didn't get that one, then you will get the next one. And sometimes, I it's the coaching me. I don't know. Probably maybe the partner doesn't want to hear it, but sometimes I'll say, if that's the case, I'll say something like, watch for this spot, a particular spot that they are hitting, kind of be ready for this shot, or making certain adjustments, because sometimes one little movement can make a big difference. But again, and there's strategies you can, if that's the case, stacking always helps. If you don't know how to stack and you play, and I know that a lot of the guys, like for mixed doubles, the woman gets most of the balls. I would say that you have to learn how to stack. I actually had a conversation with a client, who her and her partner came to train with me for a few days, and they had, not that they had no clue, but they didn't really know what they were doing when they first started stacking. And I said, trust me, you will want to know, because when that time comes, when it's really hard for the partner to come and get involved with the backhand, much harder than if they are on the left side and then they come over with the forehand, unless it's a lefty. But so that's why I feel very strong about learning how to stack, because it can help your partner you can cover more court by being on the left side. So
Good stuff. We did hear from Ben, and he says, drum roll. Come on.
uh-oh.
That's a yes.
Good. So there you go.
So you want to fill us in on dyeing the hair red, where that came from?
Oh, so I think I'm, maybe midlife crisis, who knows. But I don't know, I got bored or whatever. I had this thing where I just like, okay, I'm gonna dye my hair some color, and then I went to the store and I got red, and Val Epstein actually helped me dye my hair red, and it was very red, and I think somehow like we started talking about it, and I dyed my hair a second time because when you do it from store bought, it fades, and then I dyed again, and it was really red during the summer when I think we saw each other in Michigan, I want to say, and I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes with these kids, I don't know if they are making fun of me or if they are like, you know what I mean? Like most of the time I just go with it because I really don't care because, I- I have, I don't know, I have no filter, or I really don't.
It's
I just
self-confidence is what it is.
maybe what it is,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, okay, if they're making fun of me, they're making fun of me. My kids make fun of me, so who cares? So anyway, so then somehow we got into this conversation that I said, "You're gonna dye, like when we play together, you're gonna dye your hair red." And he's like, "Okay." I was like, "Oh, now I'm holding you accountable for it." So when Ben says he's gonna do something, he does. So expect Ben Johns to be red hair.
I like it.
So yeah.
I like it. We have a serious question here from Paul Rawlins. Paul asks, in a typical week, how many hours do you spend in drills, rec play, and competitive play?
All right, so it varies. So if I am and again, living in Naples, it's very seasonal. So there are times of the year where I can train way more, or that I want to train way more. So let's say right now, I don't teach as much as I do during the season. So except tomorrow, I'm teaching 4.5 hours. But I am really lucky. Like today, I taught an hour and a half, and that hour and a half I get to drill because my client is a 4550 player. So guess what? Of course, like he, I mean, he was pretty tired, but it was really good workout. And for me, I get some benefit from it. So I would consider that some of my lessons. So again, I'll put numbers to it. On a during the season, on a regular basis, I'll probably teach anywhere between 20 to 30 hours a week. And I consider those 20 to 30 hours I'm drilling as well, because a lot of the times I enjoy the way I teach. I love to do competitive drilling. So it's drills, but with a competitive side to it. So it's not your typical serve, return, play the point out. It's more like a kitchen to baseline drill, or kitchen to midcourt drill, kitchen to kitchen. So kind of varies. But most of the time I am playing in. I don't sit on the side. I I very rarely will do a lesson where I'm not hitting. Most of my lessons, they want to see my ball. They want me to play because they get more balls and maybe faster speed. So I would say that that's a number. And then in preparation for a tournament, usually I'll try to drill, 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, where I'm getting a really good workout, anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours. And that's more intense drilling, 101. Um, and then I would get like like competitive play, maybe once or twice a week. And that's it. I mean, my regular week, I'm usually on court about 30 hours. So that's why I don't do anything else.
Yeah, that's a
I
lot.
don't want to do
Uh,
anything else. I don't want to run. I already run after the ball all day long.
For all of us that have other jobs non pickleball related, I would love to be on the court 30 hours a week. So
I'm telling you that I tried. I tried to sit at a desk. It does not work for me. I worked in a banking for a loan, like a bridge loans, for a year and a half. I was kind of doing so when I was working at Michigan State. After doing a few years, I was doing like a part time that and coaching, and even though it was part time, I just couldn't sit there. 4 hours would go by, and like that clock is like tick tock tick. I was like, it's like not moving. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been here for 2 hours. It feels like 10. So I would never be able to sit in a desk. So this is why being active is perfect for me.
yeah, love it. Got a question here from our friend Josh J. Pickleball.
Oh, there you go.
And he says, have you ever played against or with someone and tried to emulate a part of their game? If so, who? And then he gives an example. He said an example would be playing with Ben Johns and trying to wear more Lululemon or trying his backhand roll. I feel like there's an inside joke there somewhere.
I know. So yeah, they live. So Josh actually wrote that book. The
Right there.
Oh,
Do you see it?
yes, I am.
Pickleball
Look at
pop,
that,
yeah.
Josh. It's got your book right there. So I don't. When I was younger, I looked up to certain tennis players. So I feel like my game, like my pickleball game, is so. If you watch me play tennis, like people say, "Oh my gosh, like those are your pickleball backhand, or your pickleball forehand." Like there's so many things that are similar. Of course, I have to make some adjustments, especially with footwork and how big my swing is. But my swing is very compact. Growing up, I looked up to Lindsay Davenport a lot. I mean, of course, like I loved Steffi Graf. Um, like I just thought her movement was so smooth. So I had like, but again, my game changed also over time. I used to hit a lot more. Like expose my backhand a lot, so my forehand side a lot, because I would run around my backhand to hit forehands like Steffi Graf, but I never moved like Steffi Graf. So I kind of like found my own as I got older, and when I came into college, Martina Hingis was huge at the time. Uh-oh, the doggy's playing with the microphone. I love it. So I guess like to emulate somebody, when I came into pickleball, my tennis game was so formed, so shaped, that it kind of had my strokes kind of defined. As far as pickleball goes, like not playing style, but more like, so like what I was talking about, seeing like some of the shots that Kyle does, or Ben, that some of the creative stuff that they do. I remember Joey, when I started playing with Joey Farias, he did an inside out on me, and it's the first time I had seen an inside out. And then I was like, oh, I want that. And then right away I would start to try to do an inside out. So it's more like, it's like the not so much of the style as it is like the kind of like a something unique to the game, which are an inside out, the top spin, back in the day. You talk about the roll. I mean, my wrist, I try to do that. My wrist feels like it's going to fall apart. So a lot of it is like, oh, this is cool, so I'm going to try it. So it's more like a shot in particular. So I hope that answers your question, Josh.
Great question. And I got to tell you, Simone, lots and lots of questions coming in, way more than we're going to be able to get to today, but absolutely loving all the stuff that's coming in.
And I
here.
take forever to answer. Sorry. I like to be very, very specific.
I think that's what people expect. Here's a short question that I think a lot of people are curious about. I would be curious about it. This is from Digital Reporter, and he asks for you to describe your diet.
Okay, so I actually just had this conversation with Morgan. So I I'm trying this diet. Honestly, like I've in the last, I don't know, 20 years, I've tried so many different ways of eating habits, um, and a lot of it is to stay more lean and to be able to, of course, being healthy, all that important. But when you're like competing and trying to, I'm still trying to play singles, so I feel like I need to stay lean. So I am doing, and again, oh my goodness, this is not good. It's fasting. It's
Mm-hmm.
fasting
Yeah.
is like there's a word for it, but I
Intermittent.
there you
Yeah. All
go.
right.
Look at you. You're all so in. It's amazing because it does give you results. So um, as soon as you get out of it, though, it's not good. So you have to stay pretty. You have to be committed to it, and then when if you get out of it. So what it is, I'll explain. So what it is that in the morning, usually I was never really. It's just my father. I'm not a big breakfast eater, anyways. So I'm more like I love coffee. I drink tons of coffee. So I'll drink coffee in the morning, and I won't eat. So then it's a 8. So I'll have an 8-hour window that I can eat. And I mean, I'm pretty good at like I don't go crazy and start eating everything I see, but I can eat pretty well in that 8-hour window. And usually it will start in like after 12. Like today, I had lunch really late. So like I have an 8-hour window that I can eat, and of course, like um, I don't go crazy on like every like I love chocolate. That's one of my biggest things. But I learned also that like when to have my like I don't deprive myself of things that I like to eat, because I feel like it's worse if I don't eat it, then later I'll like I'll just like go crazy on it. So I just kind of the thing about the intermediate, like it's like it's supposed to shock your metabolism. So and it I've been able to maintain. So
How long have you been doing that for?
now gosh, like 3-4 months. But the one thing is that now is adapting to when I have to get into competition, which is not when I go to competition, it's before. So adjusting like 3-4 days before to start eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that way I'm getting enough. I might gain a couple of pounds before I go to competition, but it's okay because I'm gonna spend it all. Otherwise, it's going into muscle, and then I end up with a cramp or hurting or something.
Right.
So yeah, still adjusting.
I'm always
But
yeah. I think a lot of people are fascinated by that with, professional athletes and their diets and things, and balancing that with a busy lifestyle too.
yeah, and I've read. I mean, I did some homework with it and make sure that I was okay. But again, I'm still learning. So
This is actually very interesting here because it's a serious question for once. This is another one from John Davidson, and he
yeah.
says, "Serious question for once, LOL. How was it working with Tony Giannani, and more great videos to come from you and Tony?" Question mark.
Absolutely. I love Tony. I mean, we actually go back to coaching days. So when I was coaching at Michigan State, he was at Central Florida, and then he went to Oregon. So small world, of course. And so we've known each other for quite a while. And I mean, you know him. I'm sure you work with him, and you've played with him, I'm sure. And he is just a great person, and I mean, he's just a great player. So I am definitely looking forward. We're trying to figure out a time that he can come with the storm. It's not helping our cause, but we're definitely trying to get together before um, the Texas Open. So we'll definitely get some practice in, and maybe we'll do some videos about practicing for doubles. So yeah.
All right, we have a question here from Odessa Hopkins.
Hi, Odessa.
Odessa wants to know, when are you and Ben playing together?
So Ben and I are playing together Texas Open, and then the Masters, all these coming up in a couple weeks. We have Texas, and then in a right after we have the Franklin Masters in Kansas. So, yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to that. Here we have one from Marianne Lacine Vargas. I hope I said that right. Marianne wants to know, she says, "Hi, Simone. Thanks for doing this. I enjoyed watching you at Indian Wells last year. What a treat. I know you are from Brazil, so do you ever go back to Brazil? And do you practice Portuguese?" And then she wants to tell you, teach your kids Portuguese if they don't already know.
I'm a terrible person. And my mom will tell you that. So I've been here for longer than I have been in Brazil. I mean, I still speak of course, I was born and raised in Brazil. But I didn't teach my kids Portuguese because I was actually, my husband, who's Australian, uh, I was working a lot of the times. So I- when like when I would get home, we would come together. Uh, it was so much easier to just go right into English, and I wasn't home very long. Like I would come home 5, 6 o'clock, and then that's my window there to be with the kids. So shower, dinner. It was, I guess it was more convenient. And then of course now with my parents, they don't speak English very well. Makes it more difficult to communicate with them. But somehow, honestly, when you want to communicate with somebody, you always find a way. So they figure it out. And to answer about visiting, the last time that we went, it was actually, I want to say 4 years ago, 3, 4 years ago. And the reason is because Landon was little and we had the trip. Gosh, it was horrible. He did not stop on the plane. He didn't sleep. So it takes a while to get home, to go to Brazil, and so we had to recover. And I mean, it was a nightmare, and it's hard to travel with the little kids. But probably now, they're getting older. So Alexis is pretty good, but yeah. So it should be much better to go back. And also we haven't been to Australia. The kids haven't been to Australia at all, so we'll have to do that. But they're coming of an age that will get easier.
Sounds like fun.
Yep.
All right, we have a question here from Todd Robertson. Todd says, "Hello from Minnesota." And Todd wants to know, what do you think of lobs?
I mean, there's a time and place for them, and also the type of lob. So if and who you playing. I mean, this question is open ended, Todd. There's so many ways to go about it. So you got to know your audience, and when I say that, you got to know who you're playing against, right? So if let's say your opponents have trouble with mobility, lobbying works. It's effective, and ultimately that's what you want. You want some strategy that is going to work. Let's say your opponents are like overheads is like their strength. You're not gonna want to lob them. There is, I feel like especially indoors, lobbing is easier because the ball is softer. So you see a lot more lobbing going on, and it works. So again, I think it's is and a difference between defensive and offensive. So defensive, when you are in the baseline, that tends to work much less than when you are at the kitchen line, an offensive lob. Some people have amazing offensive lobs, and it works, especially when you play against somebody that has difficulty with that shot. So again, I'll tell you, you can see it at any level, So
Good strategy. Here's a question that I'm very curious to hear what your answer is. This is from Kelly Thurman. And Kelly wants to know, do you think you would do well on Dancing with the Stars?
my humble opinion, of course. My kids' opinion, no way. They would be so embarrassed if I went. But I love to dance. I mean, I absolutely love to dance. But yeah, my kids, every time I dance, and I dance all the time, they are so embarrassed. They think like I'm a goofball, but I am, I guess. So yeah.
I think you would do awesome.
Thanks. Thanks
I
for
would
the
watch.
welcome. There you go.
All right, we have a question here from Claudia Ward.
Hi, Claudia. Oi,
Oi.
brasileira.
Uh-oh. There's some.
She's Brazilian.
Oh, cool.
She lives here
Yeah.
in Naples area, but yeah, from Brazil.
That's great. She wants to know, do you prefer a heavyweight or lightweight paddle?
So my paddle is actually 8.6, so it's pretty heavy.
Mhm.
But my paddle is actually not head heavy because of tennis, all the years of serving. I can't play with something head heavy. That happened a long time ago. Even when I was still playing tennis, I went to a lighter a headlight racket, and now I'm with a headlight paddle. The weight is more evenly distributed. Even though it's 8.6, some people when they grab my paddle, they have no idea that it's 8.6 ounces. They think it's way lighter. So that's what suits me best, and it helps keep my shoulder somewhat healthy. So, yeah.
Good. We have a question here from Orlena Sauer. Yeah.
Another client.
Orlena asks, when can we order from your academy site?
Oh man, that is not a question for me. You gotta talk to Chadwick. It's definitely a work in progress. Everything seems to be a work in progress, but we are as we grow, of course. We are hoping that we can get things situated with that. So that would be the next step. So we're still not quite there yet, but unfortunately, but we'll see you hopefully in January. So we'll have lots of stuff. Hopefully before then, by Christmas, we'll have all that up and running. I won't make any promises though, but you can check with Chad.
Love it. And let's see here. Kind of another funny question here from John Davidson. He's all over the place here.
John,
but
I feel like okay, so I haven't really met like officially met John, so I need John to come over.
He doesn't live up to the hype. Don't worry.
He doesn't.
No, he's just a normal guy.
Just a normal dude.
Yeah. But John actually wants to know, after working with Scott Golden for a month or so now, are you ready to send him back to Alabama?
I think after this weekend, Scott might be ready to go back to Alabama. Oh, I don't think that there's anything. I mean, I don't remember being anything like this in Alabama. So the panic going on. I mean, John, I'm sure that is going on where you are. The panic that goes on before a hurricane is insane. We lived through it 2 years ago. I was panicking. I was like, what do we do? Because I had just come back from TOC. So I was like, okay, you're like, you just go insane, and like things are all over the place. You like dogs and kids, and like, what do we do here? And so that's when today we were working, tearing the place up, like down, windscreens and all that. And you should see like his face, because like this is real. It's going to happen. If you see the spaghetti models right now, it's like this all over the state of Florida. So we're getting something, no doubt about it. So he might already be on his way back to Alabama. Who knows?
No doubt that storm isn't coming here.
I know.
Yeah. I think we have time here for one more question, Simone.
That sounds good.
And this is a good one here. This is from Susan Morton. And Susan wants to know, what do you consider to be your greatest asset on the pickleball courts?
Oh, that's kind of like, no pun intended. But actually, you know what? Another thing that Morgan Evans talked to me about, that my center of gravity, because again, I'm gifted in the behind area. I do believe that it has some truth to that. I mean, I am able to get as low as I get, and dig balls the way I do because of that. I have a strong base. I mean, I am very stable. I it, Defending for me is, where like you're talking about dinks or anything low. Um, I feel very comfortable. I feel that I can handle anything down there. So that is just, again, um, maybe it is my center of gravity, as Morgan says. A nice way to put it. So yeah, that's my asset.
All right. Well, good. Well, that's all the questions that we
Thanks,
had time
Susan.
for today here.
Yeah, thank you everyone for all the questions. And John, even though Eddie says that you don't live up to the hype, maybe the next time Tony comes down, you're gonna have to come down. Maybe we'll do a video with you being the guinea pig. We'll make you run around a little bit.
I would watch that.
That's it. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Would you be laughing and pointing?
I 100%
You'd
the
be
whole
that
time.
guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But John dishes it so he can take it.
Nice. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yep.
That's my kind of guy. I like that. There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. And we stay tuned. We'll have lots more in store, lots more coming your way. I'm so excited, so thankful that Eddie has been helping me with this because, again, I wouldn't be doing it. You should see this place. It looks so professional. It looks like the real deal. So, yeah, that's the quality of the video that you guys saw, the first one. Yeah, mine would have looked like worth a penny, maybe. So, yeah, so I'm really happy.
Awesome. Thank you guys.